optional. Backyards, bathtubs, and patios are always open. And snack time? Snack time is anytime. Recipes are better with Cheetos. Tostito salsa goes with everything. And bedtime? What's a bedtime? Yeah, summer rules. Frito-Lay, let's summer.
Attention everyone on Medicare. New Medicare Advantage plans are now available. Did you know that you may be eligible for additional Medicare-approved benefits that include free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free meal delivery, free rides to medical appointments, and much more? The Medicare Benefits Hotline is now open. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify for additional Medicare benefits and make sure you're getting all the benefits you deserve. Just call 800-928-8483 now. In addition to dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage, you may also qualify for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, and no copays. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you're eligible for additional Medicare benefits that may include free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free meal delivery, free rides to medical appointments, and much more. The call and Medicare benefits review are absolutely free. There's no obligation to enroll. Just call 800-928-8483 now to see if you qualify. Did you know that you may be eligible for additional Medicare-approved benefits that include dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage? All it takes is one fast and easy phone call to see if you qualify for Medicare plans that include $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, and no copays. The Medicare Benefits Hotline is now open. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify for additional Medicare-approved benefits and make sure you're getting all the benefits you deserve. Just call 800-928-8483 now. Additional benefits may include free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free meal delivery, free rides to absolutely free. Just call 800-928-8483. That's 800-928-8483.
1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love you. Sail the ship. Chop the tree. Look at me. All together now. All together now. All together now. All together now.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on, uninterrupted, because you'll have power when you need it the most.
24 days we were without power. I had water, I had ice, I had coffee, I had air conditioner. I was able to stay here because of Generac.
Get the safety, security, and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
Very good product. Very, very good reviews from everybody.
Prices start at just $19.99. And special financing is available with surprisingly affordable monthly payments. Call now to schedule your free in-home assessment, and you'll receive a 7-year extended warranty absolutely free. That's a $695 value. Call or go online today. Power your life with Generac.
Whoever said our planet had to explain itself. Explore the strange phenomena of our weird Earth. Sunday nights on the Weather Channel.
Well, just a day away from the official kickoff of summer. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, warm temperatures, that's going to have millions of people flocking outside, whether it's to the beaches, backyard pools, the barbecues. From dangers in the water in the form of rip currents to dangers in the skies with lightning to dangerous heat, summer is the time to be aware. So we do want to start with lightning and some safety tips that you may need here as we work our way through the season with that risk for lightning around out there. So it's all about when you hear that rumble of thunder, right? When that thunder roars, making your way inside, go indoors. Now, one thing that used to be one of those things that people said you can do, crouching outdoors could save you. No, well, crouching is not going to protect you at all. So the safest place to be is inside. If you are outside a vehicle, that can provide some protection as well. But getting inside is your best bet. And the key here is when you hear that lightning or hear that rumble of thunder and see the lightning, you're going to want to wait 30 minutes after all of that before you get back outside for that outdoor activity. All right, let's go over some of these lightning strikes and the 5 different ways you can actually be struck by lightning. And yeah, you may think, wow, there's 5 different ways. Well, yeah, one is the direct strike where you get exactly that strike that hits you directly. Then you've got the side flash. So this actually hits a taller object, a tree, a power pole, and then you actually get the current that jumps to you. That can happen. Then you also have what is known as the ground current. So the lightning strike hits and works its way through the ground. This actually causes a lot of lightning deaths as well as injuries, the most there. And then we also deal with conduction, where lightning can travel distances through wires, plumbing, and other metal surfaces. This is one of the reasons why even when you're inside, you don't want to be taking a bath, washing dishes, because if those pipes carry that lightning strike and conduct that, you could be impacted. And then you have the final one, which is a little more rare. It's a streamer, kind of a separate part from the main channel, can have an impact on you there. So yeah, lightning, a danger during the season. Make sure you are staying safe. Rip currents, that is another summer hazard that you got to be aware of when you head to the beach. Moderate risk of that rip current today for a big chunk of Florida's East Coast, including Melbourne Beach and Jacksonville Beach. Now, every year, lifeguards, they rescue tens of thousands of people from these rip currents, but on average, more than 100 people actually end up dying. Our meteorologist, Jen Carfagno, talks about rip currents and how you can break that grip of the rip.
I went to the Gulf Coast of Florida to experience a rip current rescue firsthand.
Rip currents are definitely our most dangerous threat out here, especially on a day like today, small yellow flag days, but a lot of people underestimate it. They swim out, they get stuck. That's where we come in.
Do rip currents pull you under?
No, that's a common misconception. It's a myth of undertow. They pull you out and eventually they'll let you go, but no, they never pull you down.
My training with this lifeguard unit started before we even hit the water. Rips are difficult to spot at sea level, so when you first arrive at the beach, get to a high point, like the stairs at the top of a sand dune. Look for relatively calmer areas between breaking waves. That's where rip currents are likely to form. In fact, they usually begin in the surf zone. The water may be foamy or have debris. It's often darker in color. And pay attention to the scallop look of the shoreline. Rip currents form in the scallops. The safest place to swim is actually at the points of those. If you do get caught in one,
don't panic and don't be afraid to scream for help. Let the rip take you out. Eventually it's going to open up into deeper water and the rip will stop.
Knowing how to float is critical.
A rip current can quickly take you out to sea and you won't be able to touch. Gotta conserve energy, float. Don't be afraid.
You see people every day that get stuck in a rip current and they don't want to be embarrassed or cause a scene, so they just sit there and eventually they wear themselves out and without a word they just slip under. Just let the rip take you out. The longest rip current's maybe going to be 15, 30 yards, but don't panic, you'll wear yourself out and that's when stuff gets tricky.
You can get safely out of a rip current. Know how to swim before you even get into the water. If you get caught, float, conserve your energy, and then swim parallel to the shore to let the waves guide you in. You can break the grip of the rip.
Well, the hottest months of the year are now upon us, and a new report from the Centers for Disease Control that's actually shedding light on just how deadly heat can be. About 700 people die each year here in the U.S. from heat-related issues. CDC also says natural heat exposure also contributes to deaths from chronic illnesses and plays a role in drug overdoses and alcohol poisoning. So yeah, yet another factor here, the summertime heat can really take its toll on our bodies. Let's talk about how this all impacts us here. And of course, it can impact adults, but children and pets, they're actually the most at risk because their bodies heat up very quickly. We're talking 3 to 5 times faster than adults. So really got to take extra caution when it comes to the kids as well as the pets. So of course you got your average temperature, right? Normal temp about 98.6. But as that number starts to climb, the body starts to react. Get up to about 104 degrees, your body temperature. Well, heat exhaustion now starts to set in. And you can see some of the different symptoms that you see when that happens. Heavy sweating starts taking place, maybe nausea, muscle cramps. These are all signs that you need to get into a cooler location and cool down. You go up even higher than that, and now we're talking heat stroke. Dangerous, dangerous situation here for you. Seeking medical attention is what you want to be doing in these situations. So to avoid it, stay hydrated and try to stay cool.
How about no?
No.
No way. Come on, no.
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 No. Only Discover has no annual fee on any card.
Today, I'm going to be making a table. I'm going to do a mural.
Do what I do best, build.
Am I too old to start skateboarding?
Something on your mind? Chew on it. Twizzlers.
Here's a razor that works differently. The Gillette Skin Guard. It has a guard between the blades that helps protect skin. The Gillette Skin Guard.
Safety. It's not a fad or a trend. It's not even a priority. Priorities shift and change. At Lowe's, we believe safety is more than that. To us, it's a value. Because safety is just something that we do and have always done. And that's never been more important than now. Safety unites us. Home unites us.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and we know there is no shortcut to quality. And that's why we use nothing but the very best sausage that money can buy. Paint yourself a beautiful morning.
Is mealtime a struggle? Introducing Ore-Ida Potato Pay, where Ore-Ida Golden Crinkles are your crispy currency to pay for bites of this with this. When kids won't eat dinner, potato pay them too. Ore-Ida, win at mealtime.
Now's the time for us all to show off our strength. Stay in, stay active, enjoy. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer.
It's starting to happen every day. People are surprising themselves. The moment they realize they can do more with less asthma. Thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Don't use if allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur, including anaphylaxis, which is severe. Tell your doctor right away about signs of inflamed blood vessels such as rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection and before stopping any asthma medicines, including oral steroids. Do more with less asthma. Talk to your doctor about Dupixent.
Pretty violent storms blasting through China's capital city. Beijing hit hard yesterday by a pretty intense wind and rain. They're Local reports suggest some areas picked up more than 2 inches of rain in an hour. So yeah, it came down ferocious there, and boy, you can see those winds as well. You can barely see some of those trees that are getting whipped around. Pretty amazing. 29 past the hour here for us on Weather Center Live. I'm meteorologist Alex Wallace. Now, maybe you're heading to Florida here for this Father's Day weekend. Keep those plans intact, but just know that we may have to deal with some showers as well as storms over the next couple of days. Let's get you out live to how things are faring for us right now. Lauderdale by the sea, and you're starting to see some peaks of blue, some sunshine out there for you, but this is an area where we could be looking at some storms trying to fire up, so just be mindful that gusty winds could accompany them, and watch out for some of those heavy downpours and that lightning, which can always be a problem with some of these storms. Let's bring in Dr. Postel to talk about some of the activity that we're expecting here across the Sunshine State. Yes, there'll be some sun, as you're seeing now, but Dr. Postel, a good shot at some rain, too.
Alex, you're right, and I think it's going to be more than your typical June afternoon, not your regular pop-up thunderstorms. These will be pretty organized eventually as we head through the afternoon hours, and will bring a lot of rain and a flooding risk with them. Here's our forecast in the amount of rain that we expect through Sunday. Now, a lot of this is going to be coming in the next 24 to 36 hours, so find your spot on the map, and that's a lot of rain, and we've had a lot of rain over the last few days, so a few inches in the last couple days across much of the state. And that is going to lead to some flooding potential here when you consider how much rain is coming in the next 1 to 2 days. So overall, the satellite and radar pictures, we're starting to see now a bit more cloud and shower development across parts of central Florida. This is going to be the trend going forward through the late morning and early afternoon hours, more and more showers. Now, it does look a lot cloudier here than you might expect on a June morning, and that's because we have a sort of an organized, almost like a frontal zone, not really much of a temperature contrast anymore, but there's certainly two different air masses. It's a front of a different sort, where we have a bit drier and more stable here air to the north coming in like that, and more moist and more unstable air to the south coming in like that. So you can see that right in the middle, there is going to be a bit more convergence on a large-scale region in a large-scale way than we typically get. So the organization will be a bit more prolific today with those showers and storms, likely over the middle part of the state, including Orlando, Vero Beach, everywhere in between, perhaps all the way as far west as Tampa and Naples. So it's going to be a rainy and stormy afternoon. A little bit like today, tomorrow will be, but maybe a little bit less on the rainy side and even less so on Sunday. As we head toward the end of the weekend, Alex, drier air looks like to come in at least a little bit more. Back to you.
We're making our way up to D.C. There's our nation's capital here for you. We are going to be talking about the chance for some storms for the day. Right now, it's kind of an overcast-ish sky with some peaks of blue here and there, with that risk for the rain, though, and storms firing up. We'll see some of that here, not just for today, but even linger on into our weekend as well. Now, as far as the rain coming down, some of that may come down to bring us at least the chance for some flash flooding. It looks like just outside of D.C. itself, but we include western Maryland, getting down into North Carolina, Raleigh, down towards Asheville, all locations where, at least for the rest of the day and tomorrow morning, where we could see some flash flooding. Now, we're not looking for massive amounts of rain. In most cases, less than an inch, but you can get that quickly. We could see some areas see some flash flood issues. So just keep that in mind here for our day, where we do see that risk for the rain. So here we are with our upper level area of low pressure, which has been hanging out all week long. It's just been stuck in place, kind of meandering around, still around. Now it's kind of broadened out a bit and has shifted a little bit farther towards the north, but that just means we'll find ourselves seeing impacts in more areas from that particular system. Right now, a few showers here and there with a few lightning strikes occasionally here popping up in eastern parts of North Carolina, but we'll see more for the rest of our afternoon as well as evening, really flaring up. You can see during that afternoon period and then kind of dying down once we get into tonight. That's generally going to be kind of the pattern here for us heading into the weekend. Saturday during the afternoon, here they go, more storms popping up. And then by Saturday night, they tend to go and quiet back down. So that's what we'll see for that early part of our Father's Day weekend. Looks like once we get into Sunday, Richmond, things become a bit more spotty in terms of hit and miss storms. Well, still ahead here on Weather Center Live, the threat for storms now just here in the middle Atlantic, but also back into the middle of the country. The southern plains will be watching the storms. We're going to be timing out who's going to be dealing with some of those stronger winds as well as hail. Those are some of the main risks that we are expecting as we head on through the coming days and sailing into danger. You won't believe what sent this boat rocking find out. Coming up next here on Weather Center Live.
And we've upgraded her with the Sonic Shield and holographic mapping drones.
Impressive.
There is one more thing.
Ah, Jake from State Farm.
Here's the deal. With the Drive Safe and Save app, you'll save up to 30% for being a safe driver and get a discount just for signing up.
Well played, Jake from State Farm. As usual.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
As someone with hearing loss, I know what a confusing and frustrating experience getting hearing aids can be. That's why I founded Lively. Affordable, high-quality hearing aids with all of the features you need, and none of the hassle.
I use Lively hearing aids, and it's been wonderful.
It's so light and so small.
But it's a fraction of the cost of the other devices.
They cost thousands less.
It's insanely user-friendly. You take the hearing test online, the doctor programs in the settings, you don't even need to go into an office.
They're delivered to your door in a few days, and you're up and running in no time.
It connects via Bluetooth to my phone.
You can stream music, and you can answer phone calls.
The audiologist was so incredible.
She's full of all kinds of little helpful hints.
I love it.
They're a game changer for me.
I feel like I could take on anything.
It feels great to be in control of my hearing.
Better hearing has never been this easy. Try Lively risk-free for 100 days. Visit listenlively.com.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough. 10 years in the making that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
When you have diabetes, managing your blood sugar is crucial. Try Boost Glucose Control. The patented blend is clinically shown to help manage blood sugar levels. It provides 60% more protein than the leading diabetes nutrition shake. Try Boost Glucose Control.
What overheated underwear feels like. What Duluth Armachillo underwear feels like. Duluth Trading Armachillo underwear. Put 'em on ice. Only at Duluth Trading.
You want a fresh-smelling home, but some air fresheners use heavy, overwhelming scents. Try Febreze One, a range of innovative air fresheners with no heavy perfumes that you can feel good about using in your home to deliver a light, natural-smelling freshness. Febreze One neutralizes stale, stuffy odors and releases a subtle hint of fragrance, like bamboo or lavender and eucalyptus. To eliminate odors with no heavy perfumes, try Febreze One. Brand power helping you buy better.
Listen. That's the sound of organic beer being made. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Beer in its organic form.
New appliances mean cool drinks, fresh towels, and midnight snacks. Get them even easier with the Home Depot, where special buy savings, plus instant savings, let you save even more on your next appliance. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Wow, close call on the Gulf Coast. You watch as a waterspout spins right over a fishing boat off Grand Isle, Louisiana. Wind whipping up water around them as the spout passes over the boat, eventually moving away, but continues spinning above the group of fishermen as they all reel from what just happened there. Yeah, that is an insane sight to see and certainly go through. Well, speaking of crazy weather, get ready for one of the strangest shows here on the Weather Channel. It's actually a new series called Weird Earth, and it captures natural phenomenon that just can't necessarily be explained. This Sunday's new episode is going to give you some chills.
In Brazil, a hole opens up in a lake.
Whoa, look at that.
Fish flap helplessly in the mud as a violent force sucks down the water, dragging two men into a mysterious yawning abyss.
Get out! Get out! That is not a safe place to be. That is terrifying.
That boat's being tossed around as though it's a toy.
I look at those guys and I think they're not coming back out of there again.
What on earth is going on?
This is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen.
It almost looks as though a giant has reached into this lake, pulled out at the plug, and all of the water is just draining.
This is not normal. This lake is draining at what seems to be an apocalyptic rate.
The earth has opened up and literally swallowed everything above it. What could it be? What caused this?
An all-new episode of Weird Earth. That's going to be this Sunday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right here on the Weather Channel. Dr. Postel?
Alex, storms are rumbling across the southern plains right now, and watch as storms moved across Snyder, Texas last Wednesday night, unleashing lightning strikes all across the night sky. And guess what? We got a chance for some pretty big thunderstorms in some of the same areas again later on this afternoon. Let's have a look at the area that's outlined by the Storm Prediction Center in red. This is where the greatest chance for severe weather is going to be, and that would primarily be for damaging straight-line winds and very large hail. The air mass is going to be extremely unstable across this region. We don't have the strong wind shear that would otherwise support a significant tornado threat, but can't rule out a tornado. But given the amount of instability in place, we are going to be watching for the chance for some pretty big hail. Of course, a lot of heavy rain, cloud ground lightning, and damaging winds. But notice that the area that's outlined is where it's not really doing much right now at all. In fact, there's few clouds, scattered clouds moving across the region at middle altitudes. The most of the rain and thunderstorm now is over Kansas and northern Oklahoma, far removed from where we expect them to erupt later on today. Why is that going on? Well, these guys are leftovers from last night, the stuff that's going on right now in Kansas. None of them are severe, but heavy rain and a lot of cloud ground lightning are definitely a player, and they're being fed by instability coming in aloft. So not the same kind of juice that you would expect for organized severe weather, but still they're being fed by something. But right now, most of the instability, when you sort of add up all the layers in the atmosphere, is much farther to the south across Oklahoma and Texas. This is where the air mass is right now untapped, and we expect later on today it to be accessed by the initiation of thunderstorms, probably along and near the leading edge of the surge of drier air coming in from New Mexico and far west Texas. That dry line, at least according to this model, does indeed suggest to be a primary trigger for convection later on this evening, and we will watch that as this model kind of shows that might indeed be the case. Right about there. Can you see that? So probably on the leading edge of that dry line or just to the east of it, watch out for some pretty big storms, and then they will be left behind. The dry line will retreat back to the west, and we will be left with some pretty big storms roaming across parts of the Cap Rock of Texas in areas nearby there as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. One more thing, Alex, there is a chance of some severe weather if indeed the atmosphere recovers from the rain and clouds this morning across parts of Kansas and southern Nebraska later on this evening and overnight tonight. Back to you.
All right, well, right now it's a growing wildfire that is scorching central Arizona. Look at the flames flaring up there. A number of communities in the Mesa area, they were ordered to evacuate earlier this week. The bushfire, that's grown to nearly 115,000 acres, and at this point, just 5% contained. So yeah, we certainly could use some help from Mother Nature to bring in some wet weather, or at least to help us out a bit. Not really seeing that happening here, at least in the western part of the country. We have a number of fires that are burning. These are all of the active large fires. So these are the ones that are greater than 100 acres, 45 for us, and those have totaled over 360,000 acres at this point. Now, it's not just the western part of the country. We're talking about getting into parts of the southern plains into Oklahoma, where you see a few fires that are burning there as well. And yeah, it has been really dry here. Oklahoma City, I mean, we're talking about going all the way through this month. In fact, going back to parts of May, almost 4 weeks since we've seen some rain, a trace here and there, but that's just not adding up to anything. So drought has certainly set in. So we have some drought conditions that are in place. And you see, again, some of those fires that are burning. Extreme drought that is in place there into the western portions of Oklahoma there into the Panhandle, but you see severe and moderate closing in on Oklahoma City. Now, here's the good part of this is the fact that we are going to see some rain coming in over the next few days. So that will certainly be beneficial here for us coming into the southern plains. We'll still ahead here on Weather Center Live, watching that Saharan air layer coming in off the coast of Africa. We're going to break down how it could affect hurricane activity this season.
My patients, I all should really be focusing on both, and definitely at the same time. The new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum gives us a dual action effect that really takes care of both our teeth sensitivity as well as our gum issues. By brushing with Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum at home, it's giving you the relief that you need and the control that you need to take care of your oral health. And it creates a healthier environment. There's no question it's something that I would recommend.
Over the past 25 years, J.G. Wentworth has helped customers convert their structured settlements into large sums of cash when they needed it most. And we're here now. COVID-19 has affected all of us. However, if you have a structured settlement, there are steps you can take now to get the cash you need during these unsettling times. If you receive regular payments from an insurance company, a personal injury settlement, or a car accident, for example, J.G. Wentworth is here to help you and your family get cash now. In the past year alone, J.G. Wentworth has helped customers get over $349 million from their structured settlements, annuities, and lottery winnings. Now, in response to COVID-19, J.G. Wentworth is offering cash advances to current customers with unanticipated needs. Current customers should call this dedicated number to learn more. Call 800-741-2799 to speak with a representative today. That's 800-741-2799. Or visit jgwentworth.com. Please stay distant and well.
Now is the time for a new bath from Bathfitter. Every Bathfitter bath is installed quickly, safely, and beautifully with a lifetime warranty. Go from old to new, from worn to wow. The beautiful bath you've always wanted, done right, installed by one expert technician, all in one day. We've been creating moments like these for 35 years, and we're here to help you get started. Book your free virtual or in-home design consultation today.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough, 10 years in the making, that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
My son needs this drug. I hope it doesn't cost too much. I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be?
67.
Sorry. Wait, have you heard about GoodRx?
GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
Do you have tons of photos just stuck on your phone? I did, until I found out I can print them for free. Now I free print my fridge. I free print the hall. I free print amazing memories. All of them. More than 1,000 free prints a year for free. Direct from my phone to my door. No subscriptions, no commitments. You just pay shipping. So I'm a free printer, and you can be too. Get the Free Prints app for iPhone and Android at freeprints.com. That's freeprints.com.
To get the most out of your mornings, you need to know what weather is heading your way. Wake up watching AMHQ. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
U2 slams into Saipan with ferocious 175-mile-per-hour winds.
there was water being blown in under the doors. So my apartment was starting to flood. This is definitely something that can take someone's life. So it's something that can get really scary because you don't know when it will end and you don't know exactly where it's going to come from next. As the storm got more intense, I realized that the sliding door of my apartment in the back room in the balcony, it was going to become unhinged. So I had to stand up and hold the glass. If I hadn't barricaded the door, then if it had blown out, then I would have been more exposed to the elements and something could have flown in from the outside, or the glass itself as it shattered, could have ripped me in half.
And catch this all-new episode of World's Deadliest Weather. That's going to be Sunday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on the Weather Channel. Well, a huge plume of dust from the Sahara Desert. That's moving over the Atlantic Ocean and expected to spread to the Caribbean islands this weekend. And you can look at Martinique, where some of that dust could make those skies appear a little hazy. You can kind of pick it out, a haze there for us. Plume forecast to reach the Gulf of Mexico and parts of the U.S. by the time we get into next week. Now, the intensity of that Saharan air layer, that can actually help to suppress hurricane activity. Meteorologist Mark Elliott explains how that can happen.
The hot, humid North African coast is a breeding ground for hurricanes, but inland is a vast dry desert air mass full of tiny suspended particles of dust and sand. Intense summer heat and thunderstorm systems over the Sahara Desert loft these particles way up into the atmosphere, up to 20,000 feet high. Every 3 to 5 days, strong winds push this dry, dusty Saharan air layer westward into the Atlantic. Dust can advance across the entire ocean, making for hazy days in the Caribbean, South Florida, and even as far west as Texas. Though scientists are still studying Saharan air's impact on hurricanes, this warm, dry, dusty air is generally thought to inhibit storm development by limiting the storm's access to moist air that acts as fuel. Saharan air also increases winds that can tear apart a hurricane, disrupt its organization, and weaken the storm. On the other hand, recent research suggests that injecting Saharan air into the body of a hurricane may actually increase rainfall amounts in its outer bands. Researchers are still investigating. For the most part, Saharan air and hurricanes don't get along.
So there you go, a little bit more on that Saharan air layer, something that we follow and we've been following. It's been taking over social media, it seems, Dr. Postel, here over the last few days.
You're exactly right, Alex, and we do really not expect tropical development to take place over the next, say, week or so over the main development region of the tropical Atlantic, precisely because the air is relatively stable. In fact, we don't see very many clouds out there at all right now, and not just in the tropical Atlantic, but also in the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. We're looking pretty high and dry, so to speak. There's also a significant amount of wind shear across the Atlantic, too, which is helping to disrupt the organization of thunderstorm complexes. So we're not seeing a lot of that now. The wind shear is pretty strong over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, also over the tropical Atlantic. And that is also one of the factors that is leading to our pretty healthy-looking outlook, which is looking relatively good with development not likely over the next 5 days at least. But let's have a closer look at that Saharan air layer, because there's more to it. There it is showing you on the satellite pictures. This is a visible satellite picture with the air coming off of Africa and from the North Atlantic, bringing an extremely dry and dusty air aloft. And if you look closely enough, you won't find anything underneath this dusty air. There's very little cloud at all. There are some shallow cumulus clouds, but that's about it. Why would that be the case? Because the important factor here is that the Saharan air layer is a very hot air mass aloft. It begins over Africa. This is a sort of a vertical profile of a picture that I drew for you. There is the African coastline right there, and there's the Atlantic Ocean. So this very dusty and hot, dry air forms over Africa, as that last package showed you, but then moves over and on top of cooler and more stable air underneath it over the Atlantic Ocean. So you have this inverted temperature profile, right, where it gets warmer aloft. That's a stable profile in the atmosphere, not going to allow a lot of cloud development at all. In fact, clouds that try to grow in this environment stop. and they will only remain very shallow and otherwise sad because they can't mature beyond their youthful days. So this is what is in place across much of the tropical Atlantic, with an elevated mixed layer preventing deep convection across the region. Of course, by extension, we're not really going to see any tropical development anywhere near it. We'll watch and track this Saharan air layer move westward across parts of the Caribbean, and underneath it there won't be any rain, very likely, but on the edge we got to watch out for it, because sometimes the clouds and showers and storms can be fairly prolific on the edges of these things, and we may be watching a little bit of that as we head toward the end of next week in the western Gulf of Mexico and parts of the Gulf Coast. We'll be right back.
Hey, can I...
Safe drivers save 40%. Guys.
Safe drivers save 40%.
Safe drivers save 40%.
Safe drivers save 40%.
That's safe drivers save 40%.
It is. That's safe drivers save 40%.
It's right there.
It's him.
Safe drivers do save 40%. Click or call for a quote today.
This is important. Perhaps you received a settlement from a personal injury claim, maybe from medical malpractice or a car accident, or you may have won the lottery, and it seemed like more money than you ever imagined possible. Or not. If the settlement comes to you in regular payments rather than one lump sum, it may not meet your current needs. If you have a structured settlement and need a lump sum of cash for a car, to pay off debt, or to start a new business, Peachtree can help you get the cash you need sooner. For more than a decade, Peachtree has helped thousands of individuals turn their structured settlement into cash to meet a wide range of personal needs. Many received a large sum of cash and still continue to receive regular payments going forward. It's your money and your choice to use it when you want to. Peachtree is here to help. To learn more, call today at 800-793-2074. That's 800-793-2074. Or visit PeachtreeFinancial.com. Representatives are available now.
When it comes to longevity, who has the highest percentage of its vehicles still on the road today? Subaru. When it comes to best overall value, who does IntelliChoice rank number one? Subaru. And when it comes to safety, who has more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winning vehicles? More than Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai combined? Subaru. It's easy to love a car you can trust. It's easy to love a Subaru.
Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select Subaru models, now through June 30th.
Where can a healthier heart lead you? For people with heart failure taking Entresto, it may lead to a world of possibilities. Entresto helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto.
Summer is here. So it. Here are the rules for summer this year. Lays are preferred. Pants are optional. Backyards, bathtubs, and patios are always open. And snack time is anytime. Recipes are better with Cheetos. Tostito salsa goes with everything. And bedtime? What's a bedtime? Yeah, summer rules. Frito-Lay, let's summer.
Hey, come on down to our Appliance Superstore. We got the best deals on refrigerators, microwaves, gas ranges, and grills. And if you're looking for a...
Friday is set to go out with a bang. We're talking storms that'll bring the noise in parts of the central U.S. Coming up, we'll pinpoint where those storms will reach severe limits and why the sound of thunder may be just the beginning of a wild and wicked night of storms.
A live look at Lauderdale by the Sea, Florida, a haven for beach lovers in South Florida. But today, beach plans will take a back seat to Mother Nature. Tropical moisture is set to make for a beach bummer of a weekend. We'll talk about when the sun will return to parts of the Sunshine State coming up.
And next week, the skies may not be gray, but they won't exactly be blue either. Who bites the dust of Saharan air in the U.S. next week? It's all ahead on Weather Center Live right now. Hi there, welcome into Weather Center Live. I'm meteorologist Alex Wallace, live from home here for the day. Back in the studio in the lab, we have our storm specialist, Dr. Greg Postel. We'll check with him in just a bit, but first. Severe storms blasting through the southern plains last night. Rain, hail, that came pouring down in Zepeda County, Texas. That's there in the southern part of the state. There were also reports of wind damage and hail the size of ping pong balls just north of here. That same area going to be in the bullseye for severe storms once again today. So let's bring in Dr. Postel to focus in on what we may be dealing with here as we head on through this afternoon. You're thinking, Dr. Postel, later in the afternoon, best chance for these storms.
Yes, Alex, that's right. And I think over parts of Texas is where we're most likely to see severe weather. In this region outlined in red, according to the Storm Prediction Center, right in here, where severe weather is probable, I think, later on today, with the primary hazard being damaging straight line winds and large hail, because the air mass will be so very unstable across this region. The wind shear will not be particularly strong, so the risk of tornadoes is not on the high end of the scale. You can't rule it out. But really, it's the wind and hail that we've got to watch out for. And interestingly enough, that area where we expect severe thunderstorms later is in a place where not much is happening right now. It's kind of often the case, right? When you look for severe weather, oftentimes you want a sunny start to the day to heat things up first. And that's kind of what we're getting. Of course, we had some mid-level clouds here as well. But most of the shower and thunderstorm activity is nowhere near where we expect it later to fire up. Instead, right now, the showers and storms are rocking across parts of northern Oklahoma and Kansas. This is left over from last night's group of storms that's now associated with a stationary boundary. And across this region, the air is relatively stable near the ground. All the clouds and rain have cooled things down. They're kept alive. These storms are being kept alive by some instability coming in aloft. But when you add it up throughout the depth of the atmosphere, there's still the greatest amount by far of juice, of fuel for the storms, otherwise known as CAPE. That's over parts of Texas and southwestern Oklahoma. That is where later on today we expect the storms to go bananas, I think, as a dry line surges eastward. So there's a dry line right there separating the relatively moist air to the east from much drier stuff to the west, but it's that westerly wind surge that later on this afternoon, I think, at least according to this model, suggests it will get development along and to the east of it. Watch as it moves and propagates eastward during the afternoon. We'll start to see some storms flare up kind of in an arc like that. These storms, again, feeding off an extremely unstable air mass, big hail, and damaging winds, the primary hazard with them. But also notice that as you go forward with this model, which forecasting convection always a very difficult thing to do, but as good as any, we can see that there's other storms way to the north, kind of a remove from where the highest risk for severe weather is today, Alex. But you know, if indeed the air mass does recover somewhat across this region, we could get some pretty big storms there as well. Something to consider as we go through the late evening hours. Back to you.
Absolutely. Well, we want to head to Kansas City, where you won't be escaping the stormy weather. Now, not expecting severe weather here for you. That's not anticipated, but we'll roll rumbles of thunder and that lightning. That's something that we'll have to deal with here. And this is something that we'll see not just today, but also heading into the weekend. I know you may have the Father's Day plans. Keep them going, but just know that things could be a little bit unsettled at times. There is that forecast for you, and there you see it. Stormy icons today and Saturday. But hey, by Sunday, Father's Day itself, we at least salvage half of the Father's Day weekend with some drier times before we bring back at least the chance for storms on Monday. Right now, you can see some of the lighter showers that are showing up there for you north of town and also west of town. Kirksville has been seeing some of the more steadier rains there as you head north and east into the northeast part of Missouri. And you can see some more showers in eastern portions of Iowa. In fact, there's a flash flood warning right now in the southeastern part of the state. So some of these storms have certainly dumped some fairly decent rain. And we'll see more developing as we work our way through our day. Future radar putting that here into play, and you can see how showers and thunderstorms develop all the way up into parts of the upper Midwest. You get into Wisconsin, there'll be some wet weather as well. Now, that whole area there in Iowa and Missouri, as it tracks its way east, kind of loses its edge as we approach the midnight hour. Maybe tries to flare up a little bit heading into Saturday morning. And then you also look back towards the west to places like Sioux Falls, where we'll see some storms, a bit of a cluster coming in there for the early part of tomorrow. But what's going on is we are watching more of this moisture coming in out of the tropics, sliding north here right into the heartland. And we have a cold front moving on through it. And so that's helping to spark off some of these showers as well as storms. Some that could be severe for tomorrow here for you. That stretches from essentially the Red River Valley all the way up into the western portions of the Great Lakes. Biggest threat's going to be damaging wind, also a bit of hail in these areas for tomorrow. So we go from tomorrow now, that's your Saturday, into Father's Day. And Sunday, for some of us, we actually get a bit of a break from some of that rain. We talked about how Kansas City could see that, Chicago as well. But places like Cleveland, down to the Ohio Valley, Mid-South region, yeah, we'll see more chances for storms there. And again, there's going to be the chance for some severe for our second half of the weekend. Omaha back down towards OKC may not be so okay there with some of those storms. So just watch the skies. You got the plans with Dad at the golf course. Just make sure you are listening out for those rumbles. Well, not just here, Dr. Postel, having to deal with some of this rain and stormy weather, working our way down on into Florida as well.
Yeah, to Florida we go. You know, today will be the day that we'll see the most widespread rain before things finally calm down, I should say, by the end of the weekend. But we've seen a whole bunch of rain in the recent days across parts of the Sunshine State, including places like Homestead right here, where the roadways look actually more like waterways. And the city Homestead has picked up as much as 3 inches of rain in the last couple of days. I would not be surprised more to see scenes like this across parts of central Florida, where another 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible. In fact, even more than that over the next couple of days, especially if you get under some of those bigger thunderstorms. Right now, a live look at Sunrise, Florida, 84 degrees. Tampa looking pretty good at 82 degrees. So already in the mid 80s, but you know what? There'll be some areas that are going to stay in the 80s with more clouds and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Look at our map here. This is a forecast of rainfall amount going through Sunday. So really 72 hours almost. But a lot of this is going to happen today. And we can see that 3 to 5 inches, some of those rainfall totals are indeed expected across central Florida and areas surrounding that, including Vero Beach, Orlando, and areas nearby. So Central Florida, heads up, this is going to be more than your standard afternoon thunderstorm grouping. This is going to be more of a concentrated area because we've got kind of like a leftover frontal zone in place. It's not really your traditional cold front. It doesn't have any temperature variation across it really anymore. But it is an area where there's some confluence ongoing, convergence in a way that is going to strengthen the gradient between these two air masses, where it's slightly drier and more stable in North Florida and across parts of the northern Gulf of Mexico, the wind coming around like that, and more moist and a bit more unstable farther to the south with an air coming in like that. So you can kind of sense that the squeeze play is ongoing here. And that is what is going to lead probably to that organization, that enhanced region of rain across the region today. And some of those rainfall totals will be quite heavy going through the afternoon and evening hours, likewise through tomorrow. But it looks like tomorrow we're starting to back off a little bit on our QPF, on our forecast for the amount of rain during the afternoon. So today probably more so, tomorrow a little bit less so, and then Sunday even less than that. Alex, good news heading toward the end of the weekend and your happy Father's Day.
All right. Well, did you know that Florida is the capital of lightning here in the U.S.? Yeah, pretty crazy. They get all kinds of lightning storms. Well, meteorologist Mark Elliott explains what makes the state so dangerous when it comes to weather.
Lightning. Warm nights roll in, and so does the thunder. Lightning strikes the U.S. about 25 million times each year, but one state sees more strikes than any other. Florida is the lightning capital. On average, just over 20 cloud-to-ground strikes occur per square mile yearly. That is about 1.1 million strikes each year. Florida also sees the greatest number of thunderstorm days per year. Fort Myers experiences on average 88 days with thunderstorms. And Tampa is a close second, with thunderstorms roaring almost 83 days out of the year.
Florida is an extremely hot, humid environment. They're sort of like giant capacitors. There's a much stronger charge separation there because of the amount of heat and humidity and the turbulence that creates. So it allows more energy to be stored in those clouds, and then when it's released, you get more lightning.
Florida's closest contender is a small area in northern New Mexico. Cimarron sees thunderstorms about 110 days out of the year. In July, you have a good chance of seeing a thunderstorm every day. Lightning can be fatal. Whether you're in Florida, New Mexico, or anywhere else, take heed during thunderstorms. And when thunder roars, go indoors.
Well, there you go. With Florida and, of course, its beaches, popular destinations during the summertime, you could find yourself in a dangerous situation when it comes to some of the lightning issues there. And at 20 past the hour here, we're going to talk a little bit more about lightning. 5 different ways that you can actually be struck by lightning here at 20 past the hour, and ways that you can keep you and your family safe. Well, we go from an area dealing with lightning to a spot in a state that's been dealing with all kinds of rain. Yeah, that's there in North Carolina, underwater. This after days of storms. We saw several water rescues play out live on our show just yesterday. This after the Tar River and Rocky Mount spilled its banks that cut off some of these homes from the main road. More than 4 inches of rain that's fallen over the past several days. The river now crested this morning at about 27 feet, more than 27 feet, in fact, the highest it's been during a non-hurricane flood, at least on record there. Wow. Well, those same storms were trying to work their way northbound into places like Baltimore. You can see there are some gray and cloudy skies. That's going to be around for us, with the chance for some storms developing as well. And although we're not expecting to find the amount of rain that we saw in the Carolinas, still a bit of an unsettled time is anticipated. So how much are we looking at? When we look at the forecast here in terms of rainfall, and this goes through Sunday, so this is several days of it. Most areas less than an inch is what we are anticipating. But of course, you could get some heavier downpours with a storm that stay over a spot and dump some of that here in a local area. So there could be some flash flooding in some locations here, southern parts of Pennsylvania, sliding down on into North Carolina as well. This is for the rest of the day here today and into tomorrow morning. Of course, we've been watching the main culprit for all this activity, the upper level area of low pressure. You can see it spinning there on the water vapor imagery. It's been kind of hanging out there in parts of the Ohio Valley. Then it worked its way to the Carolinas. And you can see this is from Sunday all through this part of the week. And even still now today, it is still around here, but it has taken on a little different form. It's broadened out a bit, and it's started to kind of move northbound just a tad as well. That's just going to mean more areas of feeling some of the impacts. And right now, there are a few showers showing up on the radar, but we do think that'll become a bit more numerous as the afternoon wears on. A little more heating of the day gets going, and you can see these showers and thunderstorms flaring up. But as things heat up, they get going, but as things cool down, they'll die down as well in terms of those storms. Then we'll do it all over again on Saturday. So back to dealing with some storms for Saturday afternoon before we quiet down by Saturday night. So that's basically how we'll get things started here, getting into that Father's Day weekend. Your forecast there for you in D.C., a bit stormy this afternoon into Saturday, and then on Sunday itself, more storms, but it'll be more spotty in nature there. Well, one thing that we'll be watching, Dr. Postel, is some of that heat. It is really getting hot across parts of New England.
Alex, 82 degrees right now, sunny skies in Boston right now, shaping up to be a really hot one. Could probably see 90 degrees today. That would be the first day of 90 degrees this year. More sun is on tap tomorrow. There's also a slight chance of thunderstorms that could move into the area during the afternoon, cooling things off just a little bit. But I'll tell you what, at 10 a.m., I didn't see the 11 o'clock obs, but 10 a.m., it was already almost 90 degrees in Caribou, Maine, in the far northern part of the state. And our forecast, believe it or not, for Caribou, Maine, is for 96. Now, let me give you a little perspective here. Yesterday it was 95 in Caribou. Their all-time record is 96. Never been hotter on the record board than that, 96. Yesterday was 95, but at this time yesterday it was a lot cooler than it is right now. So how are we going to go above 96? Are we going to go 100 degrees? I don't know, maybe. We'll see about that. But notice when you compare northern Maine to southern Texas, who's hotter? Yeah. Northern Maine's hotter than southern Texas. And northern Maine is hotter than pretty much everywhere else in the country, almost. That is something to behold. But, you know, there are plenty of cities that haven't seen 90 degrees yet. Those of us waiting for it, like me in Atlanta, hasn't happened. Our average date is June 1st. But lots of places. New York hasn't seen 90 degrees yet. Indianapolis hasn't seen 90 degrees yet. Nor has Greensboro, North Carolina. But northern Maine has seen their fair share. How about that? Good for you. Here's our forecast for today. We're going upper 90s in northern Maine, lots of mid 80s elsewhere. Tomorrow, really not all that different. A little cooler. I think the extreme nature of the warmth backs off a bit, Alex, tomorrow in northern Maine. But one last stat here to show you in Caribou, the all-time record high, 96. Last was set in 1944. We're going for it today, and we're going to continue on with a couple of 90s through the weekend.
Whew, crazy, crazy hot times. All right, well, we're talking about a big, big mass of dust